Today we're going to talk about my healing practice. How did I establish my healing practice? What it's meant to me over the years and what I think the benefits are and why I think everybody should focus on their own healing potential. Hello. Excuse my wet hair and my red face. I'm on a mission to get fit, as I've probably mentioned in some of my posts. So I've been doing spinning this morning. I've just had a shower. I'm here again with Jonathan. We're on camera today, for those that wanted to meet us. Listen, we are very relaxed, as you know. We go with the flow. We've got coffee, we've got notes. And today we're going to talk about my healing practice. Just following on from My Journey to Awakening podcast series, there were some sections in there that we said we would expand on, and this was one of them. How did I establish my healing practice, what it's meant to me over the years, and what I think the benefits are and why I think everybody should focus on their own healing potential.
And I think as part of that, there was a question as to, basically, are you special? Can anybody do this? Why would anybody do this?
Yeah.
Should anybody do this?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that.
Yeah, I'm 100% special. That's it. Nobody else can do what I do.
I know
nonsense.
that.
It's nonsense. No, of course. No, everybody is special. So everybody has the same abilities. We just need to work on them and open them up and expand them, really. Tap in and expand. So I'm not special, but what we all have is our own unique frequency to bring to the party. We really do. So we all have the same abilities and the same powers, superpowers, call them whatever you want, but we're also very unique. Our tone is unique, our frequency is unique, and we all have something unique and a unique purpose to bring to the party. So does that mean everybody should be a healing practitioner? No, but everybody's self-healing, and I think it's worth exploring that.
So
also,
perhaps,
go on.
let's go through your journey, or you go through your journey for how you became the energy healer that you are.
I think I explained a little bit about it in the last series, didn't I? But basically, I started doing it on myself, then I started doing it on some friends, and I think I talked about that in the podcast series of My Journey to Awakening, how I started doing healing in my lounge on a sun lounger on some of my friends, and I started meditating as part of that process. Now, shortly after that, I started doing more and more of it. So I just had friends coming over. I wasn't charging or anything. So for the first 2 years, I didn't charge any money at all. I didn't even ask for a donation. I don't know why. I think it was because it was all just still evolving for me, and I didn't really understand what was going on. But I talked about how my dad would come into my healings initially and help me. What was really interesting then is for the first 2 years, I had Dr. Usui, who's the founder of Reiki, in every single one of my healings. And that's not unusual. There's loads of Reiki practitioners that experience Dr. Usui in the room every time they're doing healing. So that's not unusual.
And what do you mean by he was in the room?
He was in the room, yeah. So So I'm clairvoyant because I see images behind my mind, but all of us really are, we can feel clairsentient. We can feel people in the room. I can see and feel. So as soon as I'd put my hands on, I would see who was in the room, whether it was a loved one of the past loved ones from the person lying on the couch, but I would always see Dr. Usui, my dad, and another person who I never knew his name, but he was a small monk from Tibet or Nepal. It was that kind of look. Tiny, tiny monk wearing the orange clothes like the Dalai Lama, the orange sheet. Such a lovely, amazing energy man. And he was with me as well. So him and Dr. Usui were they knew each other. They were kind of a team helping me along. So if anybody who's done Reiki will know that you use Reiki symbols, and I used to use those, and quite often I forget to invoke the symbols, and I just go straight into my meditation and start healing. And I used to see a lot, so you can see very much. You can see the energy of the person, what's going on within a person's body. You can even see if they're eating things that are harming them, and you can tell them what they are. But you can see a lot of what's going on in a person. You can tell if someone's really trying for a baby and is anxious about that and isn't managing to get pregnant. In fact, I've had loads of Reiki babies. I've treated lots of people who thought they weren't going to be able to get pregnant, and they just had healings with me, and they've had several children. So
clients had Reiki babies.
Yeah, clients. They're not my babies. Yeah, my clients had babies as a result of the treatments. But that's nothing to do with me. That is to do with them healing throughout the session. So I had Dr. Asu with me in every healing for the first 2 years. What was really interesting is just before he stopped coming, there was a few instances where I said to him, "Oh, I forgot to do the symbols," and he guided me with the little monk. They guided me to follow my own modality. They kind of said, you don't need the symbols. You do it your way, because with your meditation and your focus on aligning the heart to the mind, you've got your own way of doing it. You bring your own thing to the party. It was them actually that helped me really understand that we all bring our own special gift to the party. We all do. And that, from that moment, my own modality, I just used my own modality. I didn't overthink it. I've always just been guided as to where to set my hands. It's true that I still use many of the face positions just because I like them, I think. It's a really good way to get someone to calm down and hear their own breathing. So I still use quite a few of the face positions when I start, but I spend a lot of time on the heart center and the third eye and the crown, a lot. I'm always kind of guided to those areas, unless someone's got physical pain. So my clock's about to chime, sorry. If someone's got physical pain, I do get drawn to that area. So I always know if someone's suffering from knee pain or hip pain, or if someone's having reproduction problems, because I'm drawn to that area. I'm drawn to put my hands in that area. So yeah, I know that all of us are self-healing 100%, and if it turns out that your purpose is to be a healing practitioner, you have your own thing to bring. That's all I want to say about that. So there's nothing wrong with other modalities and just following other modalities, but I would say you could supercharge. If you're a Reiki practitioner, you can absolutely supercharge your healing practice if you tune into your own special gifts, because you've got more to bring to your practice, much more to bring to your practice. And actually Dr. Asu made that really clear to me. You know, his original journey is he found that healing practice. It was given to him on his own spiritual retreat. He took himself off into the mountains, into the caves, to meditate with nothing and nobody. And it was through that process that he downloaded that healing practice. It was specifically for him. It wasn't, I don't think, and I might be wrong, but I don't think it was designed for it to be commercialized. I think it was designed as an education for the rest of us. But of course, because of the world we live in, we try to commercialize everything, don't we? So all I would say is, if you're a healing practitioner, any healing practitioner of any kind, look for your own special gift that you're going to bring, because you definitely have it. We all have it.
And is there a way of looking for it or developing
meditation. Meditation is everything. Because honestly, without the meditation, nothing happens. Meditation is what gives you the connection to the field. And we are quantum beings, whether we realize that or not. We are quantum beings. We do tap into the overall intelligence of the universe and the conscious field. It's from there that we create. You know, we're in a merry dance with that. All healing occurs in the conscious field. All healing occurs within the conscious field. So if you're not tapped into that, then you're just setting an intention and putting your hands on somebody. It's not really holding. You never heal another person. So if you're a healing practitioner, what you need to do is connect to the field and hold the person in the field long enough for them to heal. That's what the healing is. And so if you're not meditating and connecting, where are you holding them? How is the healing occurring? So I think that's the most important part. 100% the most important part. And it may be that I know people that make all sorts of weird sounds when they're healing, because that's the part that they bring. Sound is frequency, isn't it? And vibration, and healing occurs through that vibration itself. I don't make sounds, but I play nice healing music. And I connect, and I do have a very strong connection, and practice makes perfect. Initially in the healings, it used to take me about an hour and a half. My healings used to last about an hour and a half, with the Kundalini energy making me sweat my head off and cry, and just trying to hold the person in the place without losing my focus. It used to take me quite a long time. But the more I did it, and the more I relaxed into it, and with Dr. Usui and the monk's help and my dad's help, I just got better and better, and my connection was quicker. I was able to hold it for longer. I got used to experiencing the energy of the field, because I think that's what the Kundalini is. Like it's so overwhelming initially, just because we're not used to being in that energetic space. But once you practice it, you become accustomed, like your own frequency rises, your own vibration rises, and then you can tolerate those strong frequencies more easily. I think there's a lot to be said for supercharging your healing practice with meditation, 100%.
I know you've got some other plans for meditation, and probably another one of these that goes into meditation types and all of that good stuff. But back to your journey, and kind of, so after starting to develop your own modality, kind of where did that go? I think you were finding your purpose, and
I think through the meditation and the healings, like, you help lots of other people find their purpose. What it does for you, not my healing practice grew, and it does set you aside from other practitioners, because you're providing something much deeper, and you're holding your client in a much deeper space. You do become known as someone who does a slightly different Reiki or a slightly different energy healing. It doesn't matter. Like, all healing is good. I'm not downplaying anybody's healing. I'm just saying, if you're serious about being a healing practitioner, the meditation part is crucial for your success. And it really will make a huge difference. So I carried on doing healings then. I've done, I don't know, at least 1,000 healings, probably more.
The other part you touched on there was connection to the field.
Yeah.
So say a bit more about that, and maybe...
So connecting to the field is you meditating and intentionally overcoming yourself, like overcoming your physicality, because your physicality is just a projection of what your mind creates in the field anyway. So you have to try and overcome yourself in a way. So during a healing, I connect to the field. I forget that I exist as a human. I just mentally connect to the field, and my intention is to receive information and guidance for the person on the couch. Information, guidance and healing for the person on the couch. So it's almost like you take yourself completely out of the equation, and all wisdom is stored in the field, because all information holds a frequency too. The entire universe is frequency based. Every single piece of information holds frequency. So all you're doing is, by setting the intention to bring whatever your client needs, you're tapping into the frequency of their higher self. Quite often we're just communicating with our higher selves, our higher minds, and we think we're communicating with someone outside of us, but we're not. I also tap into archangels. I love archangels. I don't know why. I've always loved archangels. At the beginning of every healing, as soon as Dr. Usui came in and the monk, I used to ask Archangel Michael to protect us. And he's really funny the way he comes in, because he just almost like puts his hands over you like that. Like, okay, like it's very brief. It's almost like, I've got you, and that's it. That's how I experienced Archangel Michael. And I used to call for Archangel Raphael just because he's the healing angel. And he's playful. He comes in like peekabooing. Like, he's really playful the way he comes in. Obviously, they're not people. They've never embodied. They're light bodies. But what's interesting is all non-human beings have great personality and humour. Huge amounts of personality and humour. It's just so nice to be in that space. it's such a joy to work in that space, actually, to be honest. Yeah.
And I think, this isn't new, is it? So
No.
there's always references and information from past times and different types of culture or whatever that you're now picking up on and kind of understanding some of those older
ancient wisdom. I think humanity is waking up again. So I honestly think that thousands of years ago we were far more attuned to that wisdom. We were far more connected and attuned to the field of to the intelligence of the universe. We were far more attuned to it, and then I don't know quite. I'm not a great historian, but society changed dramatically, and we're changing again. So we changed dramatically to become. A lot of the male energies came in, very ambitious, chasing the next big thing, power crazed, a lot of megalomania. Our society changed quite dramatically. I think for some reason, there were many reasons why we needed it, because at some point we were quite feral. So I think, I'm not a great institution person, and I think many of the institutions that exist today in our society are about to fall apart, already have started falling apart. And also, we're moving into a really key stage of our own evolution. So I just think it's really important now. We're going to have some really important decisions to make over the next 10 years, aren't we? And I've lost my track a little bit, so I think I'm talking a bit further ahead. What was the question?
Let me.
Bring me back to what you asked me.
Prompt you in a different way. And one of the things that I find quite interesting. So I've got a bit of Reiki background, but not kind of your more spiritual, if we call it that.
Yeah, my woo-woo
background.
Stuff. Yeah,
I'm much more of a scientist.
Yeah,
and bloke.
Yeah, engineer.
Exactly. So, and what seems to be interesting at the moment is that there is some coming together of the kind of spiritual view, energy view, and physical sciences.
Oh God, yeah.
And proof, inverted commas, of things.
I think it's always been there, honestly. Like, I even think Newton knew the truth, but our societal, our institutions didn't allow for that to come out. Like, we've had some amazing scientists, haven't we? Like, just in the last 100 and 200 years, there's been some incredible science coming out. And I believe, and this is just my belief, that someone that intelligent who is studying physics can't help but know about consciousness and that it has an effect on life, on everything. Whether or not they were allowed to talk about it is a different issue. But Nikola Tesla is one of my favourites because he was highly connected. Most of the scientists that knew things that other scientists didn't know is because they were connected. They definitely received downloads. They definitely spent a lot of time in introspection, just in quiet spaces, introspection, which is a meditation in itself. So I believe they definitely received downloads. Look at where we are. Just in the last 20 years, our technology has gone crazy. Like, we're in a crazy space.
And it's about to go crazier.
Even crazier. So I think, here's my personal opinion. I believe we are all seeing, all knowing. I believe that connecting to the field, we can know everything. And I've had some very interesting meditations, as you know. And in the whole creation process, it starts in a black hole. I had a really interesting meditation. I will do a couple of separate videos about those. But just to briefly tell you, I had a very interesting meditation where I just knew that everything that we create, everything we see around us, that creation process starts inside the black hole, and that actually the black hole isn't black, it's light and dark all at the same time. And I had a meditation around that, and I will expand on that in a different video. But I wrote an email to the scientists at the ISF, the International Space Federation, and I said, can you make sense of this from a physics standpoint? I'm not a physicist, so don't give me math because I don't get it. But can you make any sense of this? Because I happen to know that this is true. I just can't explain it to other people who are looking for, like you, a more sort of scientific explanation for it. And they came back and said, wow, like, you know, it's fascinating. They obviously don't have time to do that. They can't do it for every meditation, but they were kind enough to come back with an email saying, it's fascinating how you see it, and it's absolutely true. You know, the black hole is light and dark all at the same time because it's full of potentiality. It's potentiality, isn't it? So, and they said that the way I saw the creation process made a lot of sense, and they could tie it back to the science. So honestly, my position on this is that we already know everything. If we meditate, we see everything. We become all-knowing. You start to know stuff and you don't even know why you know it. And I think physics is catching up to that. Physics is just unfolding what we already know. That's what I believe. Physics is just starting to unfold and calculate what we already know.
So,
yeah,
don't want to use the physics word too often because everybody will turn off. And I guess ultimately for this podcast, there's a kind of so what question. You know, people are watching, you know, the information about your journey and the healing modality. So what's the kind of so what for anybody interested in that subject who may be on or interested in going on that journey?
I don't know what you mean by the so what. Why should they do it? Or
the so what of what we're saying is, I think, that you're not special. Anybody can do this. And
you keep telling me I'm not special, and I'm not impressed. No, of course I'm not special. 100% anybody can do this. 100%.
And why would they want to?
Well, because it enriches your life in a huge way. Like, even if you just do it for yourself. So when you think of the journey that I went on, it was really interesting because I hit that major depression. I started doing the healing. I developed my healing practice. And, you know, over those next 10 years, we had one major slap in the face after another. And I firmly believe, I know through that healing process and through the meditation and finding your power in your self-healing, I knew straight away that no matter what happened, I would never feel depressed again. I would never feel disconnected and not be able to cope. I would never feel hopeless or helpless. Whatever was thrown in my path was going to be okay. I may not like it, but I knew how to ride the wave. And actually, once I started to understand about the 12 universal laws and the universal law of rhythm in particular, what you resist persists. Once you understand that in conjunction with your meditations, your connections and your healings, like, you become invincible in lots of ways. I know it sounds mad, but you absolutely do. And even if you go through times that are really unpleasant, and I mean really unpleasant, and we did, you still know that you're okay. Like, you never feel, you know that's not going to last, that, you know, something changes, everything changes, and you never feel, I can't do it. I never have had that feeling ever again. I've never had that feeling again since. So since 2012, I've never once thought, I can't do this. I've never once thought that. And isn't that worth it? Like, that's worth everything. Knowing that there's nothing that you can't do. Like, knowing that you're in a dance with the universe, you create everything for yourself. We haven't talked about how we experience stuff, like the difference between, so we create everything, but there's also another part to that, which is what determines how we experience our own creation, which is really, really interesting as well. But like, all the pieces just start falling into place, and through the meditation and the self-healing and the knowingness that comes with that, you start to know and see, and there's evidence everywhere. There's evidence everywhere that you've never noticed before. You start to see evidence of your own creation and your own frequency everywhere. And if you start lowering your own frequency, your life change, things go wrong in your life. It becomes much more unpleasant, much more difficult to cope with, much more like walking through glue. And you see it, you see the result of your own frequency. You see it. So there's just benefit in all of it. Like, just for yourself, self-healing, self-awareness, increasing your own your own awareness and stepping into your power and knowing that there's honestly nothing that can hurt you, and there's nothing you can't do, there's nothing you can't overcome. And the most exciting part is that you find your purpose through all of this. Through all of this process. And you don't have to be a healer to find your purpose. You do have to self-heal to find your purpose. Because it's so easy to walk around saying, I'm not stressed, I'm just busy, I'm okay, my life's not that bad. What do I want to change my life for? I like my life. But how do we know? Like, we're only aware of ourselves 5% of the time. I don't think we know whether we like our lives or not. I think it's something we tell ourselves. Because we're not self-aware enough to know if we're stressed or if we like our lives, or we're just not self-aware enough. And the human psyche, if you don't do this work, the human psyche is very, very fragile, like really fragile. And it doesn't take much for us to break down. It really doesn't. For example, if you're someone who has your life sorted and you're financially secure and you see your future really clearly, if you lost all of your financial security overnight and everything you own, what would that do to you? What would that do to you? I'd be okay. I'd see it as an adventure in many ways. Like I would. I know it sounds crazy, but I absolutely would. But how many of us would feel like that? And before doing this work, I would not have felt like that. I would not have thought I'd be okay. I absolutely would not. So I just think we learn so much about ourselves through this process, and there's so much benefit in self-healing, meditating, understanding who you are, understanding how powerful you are and amazing you are, and how unique you are, because although we're all the same and we've got all the same abilities, we all bring our own special unique gift. And whatever your job is and whatever you're doing in life, you should always recognize, know what your gift is and bring it to the party, because it enriches your life in ways that nothing else can.
Okay, that's probably where we can get to today.
Yeah.
I think it'd be worth, and I know we were planning to pick up on meditations in the next one.
Yeah.
And different types of meditation, what they're used for, how to do them, all that good stuff.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff. If you want to look in the meantime, I do have on my app platform a free meditation foundation course that you can look at, but I will be talking about that next time.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.